Hello and welcome to Dream Life Designer, where I help you make your dreams a reality. I'm Lauren, and by the end of this video, you will learn how to plan a productive day that will get you closer to your dreams. I come out with new videos every week, so please be sure to subscribe and click on the bell to turn on notifications so you're the first to know about them. In my previous video, How to Track Your To-Dos, I talk about an easy way to keep your to-dos organized with a checklist journal. What I talk about in there will help you with planning an effective day. I'll put a link to that video down below so it's quick and easy for you to find it. In this video, I'll be sharing how I plan my days to get the most out of them, and I believe that this is a way that can work for you as well. It can be really helpful to organize your days in this way. I have a lot of tips in here. Now, before you get started planning out your productive day, it's important to take a look at your week. I usually do this on a Sunday night so I can look at the week ahead of me. Each Sunday night, I take a look at my goals and my to-do list to help me plan for the week ahead. And I determine what are my top things I want to accomplish that week. If I can't get to everything, if I can only get like a couple really top things done, what are those top priorities that I want to have done that week? I usually look at that in each of the different areas, like work. Like, what's the top one or two things I want to get accomplished for work? What's the top one or two things I want to get done for a hobby? What's the top one or two things I want to get done at home? Then that gives me 3 to 6 major things to focus on to make sure I'm really making progress in those areas that are important. Because sometimes if you don't identify those important things, all the other little must-dos pop up, all the other little things just kind of pop up here and there, and you get distracted by those and lose sight of the bigger picture of what those big goals you're trying to accomplish are. So start off with that. Think about those main areas of your life, those main chunks of your day. What is the main goal or two that week that you want to have accomplished by the end of the week? Some examples from my life, what this looks like even this week, are for Dream Life Designer. I have the big goal of getting a chunk of videos planned and filmed and ready to go so that they're ready to be posted up for you to watch. And then for the dance part of my life, I have the big goal of getting a good chunk of choreography done for a show that we have that we're planning on coming up. Then for my big goal for home this week is to get ready for some out-of-town guests that we have coming. There are lots of different things I need to do around home to get ready for those guests and what we'll be doing with them. So those are kind of my big top priorities this week, but there are many other to-dos that I still have to do besides just those. But that'll keep me focused to make sure I make progress in each of those and don't get distracted by all of the other to-dos. So start your week off like that. Figure out what are your top 3 to 6 big goals you want to accomplish this week. Just be sure to keep it to just a few areas, just a few big goals. It doesn't even have to be 3, it could be 2 or 1, just depending on how it balances out. But really narrow it down to just a couple major goals that you want to make progress on that week. Once you have your big weekly goal set, you can plan your days more efficiently. Just like I recommend starting on a Sunday night or maybe a Saturday night, depending on when your week starts, to set your weekly goals, I recommend that you start the night before planning your next day. That you don't wake up that morning to plan it, but actually in the evening, or maybe right before you go to bed, or maybe at the end of your workday when you're ready to just unwind and relax, sit down and plan out your next day. Then it's ready. So when you get up in the morning, you can get started right away into whatever it is you have planned. You don't have to take time thinking, what is it I've planned? Usually at the end of the day, you have lots of things in your mind, lots of things you're like, oh, I didn't get this done. Oh, I want to accomplish this. I want to get this done and make progress on this. So you have a lot of that fresh in your mind at the end of the day, where in the morning when you wake up, your brain might take a little longer to recall those things that you need to accomplish. Also, your brain is more creative and fresh in the morning, so you want to use that time where it's so fresh to get things done rather than to spend that time planning out a to-do list, which you can do when you're more tired, when it's the end of a day. So end your day with planning your to-do list for the next day. This is the part where I'm going to go back and refer to the checklist journals I talked about in the last video. So if you haven't heard about this yet, if you haven't watched that video, go back and take a look at it after this one, or pause this one, go look at it and come back to this one, because it will be very helpful for you in planning out your day. At the end of each day, I recommend you go through your checklist journal to the areas that you're working on and check off the things you've accomplished that day, first of all, kind of closing up that day. Then use what you have in your checklist to help you plan for the next day. Now, here's an important tip too when you are planning your day out that I'm going to interject here, is that it's really, really helpful to assign times to what you will be doing in that day. If you're making, we can call it our daily to-do list, right? Everything you're going to do that day. Don't just write out a list of the things you want to get done that day, but to actually schedule those things into your day. There's a lot of reasons that this is helpful. It helps keep you on track. It helps you not take longer to do something than you need to do. It motivates you to get it done. It also helps you become more realistic about how long it takes to accomplish tasks. Research has gone into seeing how people perceive time, and people generally tend to perceive things to take 3 times less than it will actually take. So if I think doing a certain job is going to take me half an hour, it's probably actually going to take at least an hour and a half to do that. That's a tendency that humans have, is to underestimate how long it will take to achieve something. If you're writing down a time in your plan for your day, then you might not get to everything you write down at first because you're underestimating how much time it will take for each of those tasks. But as you keep doing that, it will help you then in the future become better at seeing, okay, I thought this task would only take me a half an hour. I've learned, oh, it takes me more like an hour and a half. So you can better fit things into your day. You can better prioritize the jobs that you want to get done that day and fit them in a way that makes more sense, that's more achievable. So at first, yes, you might be like, gosh, this isn't working at all. I'm totally off from my scheduling. But as you go along, it'll help you figure out how to better schedule those things in. It'll help you plan a more effective and productive day. Putting in times also helps you not waste time on something else. If you just have, oh, I want to get these things done today, you might get distracted by looking at something on Facebook or tidying something up in your home and kind of procrastinate on the things that are the important things you want to get done that day. But if you have a time set out and you say, gosh, I need to get this done so I can move on to that next task so I can get everything in my day done and be productive, that'll help you not waste so much time on those other little things that aren't really as important, that don't matter as much. Now, if you finish something early and you have like an extra half an hour to do something, sure, you could throw in some other things in there that you didn't have planned, or you could just bump up what you have planned into that time. But having those times scheduled in for each thing you're accomplishing that day will really help you be more productive. Okay, now that we've covered that about scheduling time, we're going to get more into what does this look like. First, when you're planning your productive day, you want to look at what are your must-dos for the day, the things that cannot be put off, that have to be finished today. Those might be things like a meeting with someone, it might be a doctor's appointment, it might be a bill you have to pay, something that has to be completed today. There's no way you can do it tomorrow. So those are what you want to look at first. And of those, you want to schedule in the ones that are set in time, that there's a certain point when you have to do that. For example, a doctor's appointment. If it's at 1 o'clock, it's at 1 o'clock. You can't put it at 10 o'clock in your plan. So schedule in those things that have set times that are must-dos for your day. Then you can schedule the rest of your day around those must-dos with set times. Now the other must-dos you want to have to put into your day somewhere. You know you have to fit them in, but you might be able to move them around. You might be able to do some early or some later in the day. You just have to make sure that you get to those must-dos. So for me, sometimes I schedule in those must-dos right away, but sometimes I keep in mind those maybe 2 other things that I have to get done today, but I'm going to kind of see where they fit in with the other things I want to accomplish that day. Now when you move on to the next part, it works really well to chunk your day. Now if you have a 9-to-5 job, you have that chunk that is your time at work, that's your work time that you're going to accomplish work tasks. But during that time, there are still different chunks. For example, if you are a teacher, you have some time that's in the classroom with your students, where you're teaching your students, interacting with your students. There are other times that are not with the students that you could use for planning, that you could use for collaborating with other teachers, for getting other tasks and jobs done. That's just within the workday how you might have some time chunks. But you want to also apply that to the rest of your day. It's helpful to batch things. If you're the teacher, if you're going to be doing emails, do a bunch of emails. If you're going to be planning, do a bunch of planning. If you're going to be tidying up your room, do a bunch of tidying up. Don't switch and do an email, then a tidy, then a little bit of planning, and then back to email, and then to talking to a teacher across the hall. When you mix it up and you switch from one task to another, it takes mental energy to switch gears into that new task. So if you're able to batch a bunch of emails, you don't have to spend too long maybe doing it, but if you're able to batch the emails you're doing that day into one time, if you're able to batch the tidying up into another time, if you're able to batch meeting with some other teachers into another time, that will help you use that time more efficiently for each of those tasks, because your brain doesn't have to shift back again into that mindset for whatever job you're working on. Now, of course, you don't want to spend so long that your brain is like exhausted and you're tired of that task, so be reasonable with how much time you give yourself for a task, but try not to jump around too much. Try to set certain times for certain types of tasks throughout your day. Now, when you're not at work, This could look like you're going to have a set time that you're working on your fitness and health, exercising. You might have a set time that you're working on home things like cleaning up, cooking, getting all of those things, doing your laundry, kind of sticking all of those things together. Then you have another time where you're working on some hobby that you have, and you have that time set together, that you're not interjecting those things and mixing them all around. It'll really help if you block those chunks of time. All right, coming back to setting those goals, you have your must-dos with a scheduled time. You have your other must-dos that maybe you scheduled in, or maybe you kind of have them over there on the side that you're going to schedule in as you put your other tasks in for the day. Your next thing to look at after your must-dos is, what are the things you want to get done that will get you closer to those weekly goals that you set for yourself. You set those few things that are your main focus for the week that you really want to get those accomplished to get you closer to your goals in life. So you look in your to-do list and see what are some of the to-dos that are going to get you closer there. For example, for me, my goal this week was to plan out the videos, to get them done, get them ready for you. So at the start of the week, I opened up in my book to the Dream Life Designer section, and I looked for the things I didn't have checked off yet, and I thought, okay, which of these things is going to be most helpful to getting to my weekly goal? Which of these things should I schedule in today? I probably won't do all of them, but I'll fit some in. So maybe one of those things was to spend some time planning out what my videos would be about, planning out the content for the next couple videos. So that's something I could add into my daily plan. So you go back, and when you're looking at your work time chunk for your day, look at your work list and see what things in my to-do list that aren't checked off yet should I do to get me to that goal that I want to achieve this week. When you're looking at things for home, what are some things in my to-do list that are going to get me there? As you determine what these things are that will get you closer to your weekly goals, put those into your plan, just like you put in your must-dos, right? And as you're fitting these in, fit in those other must-dos that maybe didn't have a set time. Figure out what are the best times to get those things done, because these are the most important things for you to accomplish in your day. The things that are going to get you closer to your big goals, and the things that are the must-dos. So find times that are going to work the best for you to achieve those things. Once you have those big things fit into your day, scheduled in, you can go back to your checklist to-do list and look at what other things do you have in there that maybe you could fit a couple of those in for your day. Some of the stuff that's not that urgent, that's maybe not that major, but stuff that you would like to make progress on. You might want to think, gee, I have this thing that's been hanging out on my to-do list for a really long time. I've checked off everything else on this page, but not that one thing. Maybe you want to do that thing and get some progress on that thing that's been there a while. That's not that important, not that urgent, that kind of keeps getting pushed back, but you have time to fit some extra stuff in, so you might fit that thing in at that point to make some progress on it. As you fit all these things in, you don't necessarily have to put your must-dos first thing in the day, and then your things to meet your goals next thing in the day, and then your extra things at the end of the day. Put them where they make sense to you. For example, for me, if I'm choreographing for my dance team, that's something that I like to be fresh and have a lot of creative energy for, so I might put that earlier in my day, even if I have some must-dos that I need to get done in my day, but maybe they're must-dos that don't take as much time. Like some of the things I need to do to get ready for our guests coming don't take a lot of brain capacity and a lot of creativity, so I can put those later on in my day, even though they're things that I need to have done because my guests are going to be here and I need to have it ready for my guests. So think about where in your day you're going to be most effective at accomplishing those different things that you're fitting into your day. To recap, this way of planning, you're starting with your must-dos that have scheduled times, then you're adding in your must-dos for the day that don't have scheduled times, but you have to get them done that day. Then you're adding in the tasks that will get you closer to your big goals for the week. And then with any remaining time for your day, you schedule in the other things that are on your list. Probably starting with some of the things that maybe you've been putting off for a while that you want to see some progress on. But those are the other things that aren't as important, that aren't as vital, that you get them done in that day. By planning in this way, you will get all of your must-dos done for the day, and you will see progress towards your most important goals. This helps keep you from being distracted by all of the other to-dos that constantly pop up in your life. It helps keep you focused, on track, to have a productive day and a productive week, and therefore reach those big goals and dreams that you've set for yourself, to not get distracted by all of the littler things that pop up. I hope that you found this video helpful. I hope it helps get you closer to your dreams, that you try it out. If you enjoyed this video, please click like and share it with someone who you think might find it helpful. Thank you so much for watching, and remember, if you haven't yet, to subscribe and click on the bell to turn on notifications. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.